Cheating in Japan is one of those things people like to endlessly argue about. While it is up for debate how much cheating there actually is, it is a fact that people are much more open about it.
Have you cheated? I have. Yes. I have.
One thing that is often left out of the discussion though is the fact that you can actually sue your partner or...
There's a lot of cheating porn and cheating like culture in Japan. Yeah, for sure.
The one they cheated on you with
NTR.
in the court of law. As an example, in 2021, a man sued her wife's female lover for sleeping with his wife. And the court ordered the wife's mistress to pay $1,000 to the man as damages.
Dude, if you did that in America and that passed, oh my god. What about the guy though? The guy gets off scot-free, man. #1 streamer got popular. Yes, he cheated and everyone praised him for it. It's true.
Since it is relatively common to sue someone over cheating, the law has been revised many times over the years to include such things as protection for businesses. What counts as a business transaction? Well, as
prostitution.
An example. It is not possible to sue hostesses or prostitutes for infidelity because it is a part of their business and they are simply trying to retain the men who visit them as customers.
And it's really popular over there too.
Overall, the laws around extramarital affairs in Japan are extremely weird and often inconsistent. Most of the time to be able to sue someone for cheating requires that sexual intercourse happens, which leads to a divorce.
How do you prove that though?
However, there have been cases when people have been sued and lost, even though the relationship was supposedly strictly platonic. In 2014, a woman was sued for playing badminton and going to a fireworks festival with a man who was on a business trip with her. There wasn't evidence to prove the two were in a sexual relationship, but still, the court ruled that the couple had to acknowledge that they went beyond a suitable friendship between a man and a woman and...
See, this is where I hate, where I can't have to draw the line. What do you constitute, when you put in the opinion of the government or a judge, what is suitable? How do you, like is hugging as two friends, like, too strong? Is it like in some cultures, it's normal to, like, peck each other on the cheek, even if you're opposite sex. Yeah, like, mwah, mwah, like, that's a thing. And that's not, like, sexual at all. Yeah, holding hands, yeah, I mean, again, that's where I think this is really, really weird.
And that it was an immoral relationship. Japan is a country that is very much a mixture of old and new. This is why even things like relationships are complicated with traditional values and modern problems.
Yeah.
It is believed that cheating is something that happens quite often in Japan, and it definitely seems like it with how it's reflected in the media and from all the discussions around it. It is hard to find trustworthy data to back anything up, so I cannot say for sure. However, it certainly seems that it's very common. The reason it seems cheating is so common in Japan is because many marriages end up loveless. There is a huge imbalance in the work life between the men and the women, which causes many couples.
And it's really sad to see that, and that's why they also have an insane amount of... They have an insane amount of cheating because they overwork themselves. They can't go home, and it's almost expected for the man to cheat. Yeah, there's love hotels as well. That's a very good point. To get away, you want to rent it and, like, hire a woman.
To grow apart over the years. The problem here is that even though the couple no longer get along, divorce is off the table for most people in Japan. Societally, divorce is looked down upon and you'd lose face if you were to go through with it. This is why people often start to look for intimacy outside of their own marriage, which is why there is such a huge market for hostess clubs, show plans, and other misushobai businesses where the only thing that's being sold is fake human connection. Now, many of you are probably wondering, what's the point of suing someone in a marriage that's already fallen apart? My thinking is that most of the time, it's not about the money, it's about sending a message. Of course, there's probably a large amount of people who want to hurt their partner whom they've come to resent, but I think the larger reason is all about saving face.
I think that it's a lot for the money. Just because women also in Japan are usually stay at home, or they, what is it called? Women don't usually work in Japan after they have a kid. Not often. And there's a stigma of divorce in Japan. Yes, and they stay and they cheat and they try to put on the face that they are still together, but ultimately they're just not. Divorce is a very formal thing because you can be estranged too. That's very common in Western countries or developed countries where they're estranged. You're still together, you're putting on the face that you're still married, but like ultimately you're not really like together.
As I mentioned earlier, getting divorced in Japan sadly makes you a lesser person in the eyes of society. However, if you sue your partner and win in the court of law, it is one way to make you seem as the victim and an innocent party in the divorce. This is a way to shift blame to your partner and save face in the upcoming divorce. So for example, the man whose wife cheated on him with another woman probably felt like he'd be seen as a loser if he didn't take his case into court. On paper, it definitely sounds like a weird system, which is why most countries don't have this kind of law in effect. But it is not only in Japan where people use the court of law to restore their reputation. Think about the Johnny Depp vs Amber Heard case, for example.
This was great farming.
Islands, so the lawsuit wasn't about money or his career, it was all about clearing his name in the public eye. Of course,
but even that didn't even clear his name. That's what's really horrible about this whole thing, is that even after you try to clear your name, people will still have a stigma towards you because of all the horrible things that was said before the lawsuit even happened. I'm pretty sure Johnny Depp got dropped from like almost every movie that he tried to go after before this lawsuit even happened. I think it was more for him out of principle.
Johnny Depp allegations were a bit more serious than the fact that your wife doesn't find you sexually attractive anymore, but you get the point. Now, I personally think cheating is something that should be resolved within the relationship. It is pretty hard for a judge and a jury to understand the intricacies of other people's marriages and feelings. If nothing else, I do find it kind of ridiculous that people are able to sue the person your spouse cheated on you with, because
Japan has really bad suing laws as well. You can get sued for defamation on leaving a bad review on a restaurant because it's a bad review and it's gonna make them lose business. Slander. It's really, really fucked up. Yeah. Ridiculous. I know, and it's true. That's why, because for those that know Connor, Sea Dog, he says that he can't say certain things about people that live in Japan, even if it's completely true, because they can still sue you for slander and losing money because you're saying something bad about them.
Even though they're not innocent, ultimately the responsibility lies with your partner. Divorces are already ugly, and I don't think it helps anyone to bring a third party in it. Even in a country as stubborn as Japan, though, there have been some changes to these laws. Recently, they've tried to make it harder to sue the third party, thanks to cases like the one we mentioned earlier, where the wife sued the mistress even though there was no intercourse proven. Today, in order to sue the mistress, you are required to prove that your case is a special circumstance. What is a special circumstance, and who decides if yours counts as special? Nobody knows. So
yeah, the judge.
Even with this change, you can still sue the mistress, as long as they're not a hostess. But what do you think? Is it a good thing to be able to sue the Chad who stole your wife, or would it just be better to break up like normal people?
I think when you involve intimacy and relationships with the government, apart from like divorces and marriages, when you start saying things like, you would have had to stick your pee-pee in her. Like, what does that even mean, man? Like, you have to prove that, and you have to provide evidence, and you have to provide text messages. It's like, Jesus, dude. Like, marriage on paper, like, whatever. Ultimately, it's usually for tax breaks and stuff, but yeah. That was a really good video. Paahtis. Paahtis? I don't know how to say it, but thank you for the video. That was really nice. Thank you for that.